morning, everyone, and once again, welcome to our offices here in London. I'm Samaya Davanil, and I look after marketing for M&G Investments in Cape Town. So it's a real pleasure to be here with you and to kick off this first panel. In this discussion, we're going to go beyond just the numbers, and I really want to unpack what makes M&G truly special. I'm also feeling some of this pressure because, as Anne rightly pointed out, I'm on the stage with my boss and my boss's boss, so no pressure this morning. In all seriousness, though, we often talk about global insight and local expertise, but what really matters to us is where these two forces start connecting and where we see South African insights and expertise really lend towards a global story, and again, where the global thinking resonates back home in terms of what we do in the Cape Town office. In our industry, over the past little while, being global is almost the new buzzword, but M&G is different. M&G is one company connected across markets, across teams, and across clients. We actually look at what we do with great context, alignment, and a shared commitment to deliver long-term value to you, our clients. With over 8 trillion rand of assets under management and administration worldwide, what matters is not just our scale, but how we actually manage those assets. We stay close to our clients, deeply connected, bringing the full breadth of our capabilities to every decision, all anchored in a disciplined investment philosophy that Anne alluded to, which has been going for 100 years globally and 30 years in South Africa. We are uniquely positioned with deep South African roots and a global footprint over 28 regions, many asset classes, and multiple diverse cultures. That combination allows us to build forward-looking portfolios, resilient by design, and creating meaningful long-term impact. With that, I'm really honored to have two leaders at the context of that global local conversation with me. Firstly, I'd like to welcome Anne Lepile, the CEO of the South African business, a really passionate local leader known to many of you in the room, driving our strategy and connecting the South African business insight and expertise to the global business. And then joining her and joining me on stage is Joseph Pinto, the CEO of our asset management business, leading many regions across our globe. And Joseph really drives the vision for relevance, innovation, and strong connections with our clients worldwide. Thank you both for being here today. Let's dive in. In a world of constant uncertainty, from economic shifts to political and social change, investment leaders face many challenges. Okay? Most of them react, but navigating with clarity and purpose is really the winning formula. So Anne, if I can kick off with you, from your perspective as the CEO of the South African business, what are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities that you're seeing in the investment landscape back home? And how are you guiding your teams and our clients through all of that change?
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. So, I think that with increased opportunity sets comes increased complexity. Yeah. And oftentimes there is the illusion that the more complex something is, the better the investment outcome. But we've all seen the articles or the warnings from the FSCA to say, stay away from this advisor, stay away from this manager, because we really do seem to be deviating away from simplicity. And ultimately, these are individuals that we are engaging with, right? Investments has to be something that you are able to connect with, but also better able to understand. Yeah. And I think that we are finding ourselves kind of competing with what sounds fancier, what is fancier, when ultimately it is about risk and reward.
Okay, right. Joseph, from your perspective as the CEO across multiple jurisdictions, I've often wondered, how do you hold a consistent global strategy, because that's what we need to do, but understand the local markets, the local nuances, teams on the ground? How do you lead that?
I think you need to think global and act locally. We are very proud to be in South Africa. That's a key market for us. We are meaningful in South Africa. We have excellent investment capabilities. I could see that number of times when I came to visit you, and it's very much linked with what we have globally. It's the same M&G, It's the same investment culture,
Yes.
the same sort of capabilities we have. That are probably more, adapted to Europe, UK, Europe, and global as well. So we manage money for clients across the world. We do it in a consistent manner in equity, multi-assets, fixed income, or private market. And at the end of the day, whatever we deliver to clients in Europe, clients in Asia, or clients in all the emerging markets, including South Africa, it's effectively what defines who we are.
Okay, I like it. Simplicity, think globally, act locally. That's the message. Okay, let's move on. So in that context, the future in asset management is changing rapidly. There's AI, there's the rise of passives, private markets, you alluded to, Joseph, and evolving client expectations. The challenge isn't just keeping up, it's staying relevant, differentiated, and future fit. So let's explore that a little bit more. Joseph, leading the business across multiple regions and continents, what are some of the important shifts that you focused on in the industry today? And more specifically, do you really think global scale helps us and differentiates us in that space?
I think you need to be credible in all asset classes that you manage. You need to have enough size. We don't want to manage trillions of assets. We are not in the passive space. We are an active manager. We have enough size in whatever we do. You need to have a minimum size to be credible out there. And whatever you do, you need to be excellent at it. When I meet, I'm very pleased to say, when I meet investment consultants, the largest ones in the world, they are very pleased with the number of strategies that we have. They are pleased with the recurring and consistent performance we generate. Their question to me is always the same. How do you make sure your PMs are happy? Yeah. How do you make sure they stay with us? We are very pleased actually to have kept most of our portfolio manager for more than 20 years. That's pretty much, let's say, the generation of talents we've had. We also have a big bench, meaning the next generations of leaders, and that's the crux of what we do to deliver the best outcome for you and for your clients. It's the quality of investments that matters. We need to be relevant in various strategies, whatever we do, and make sure we have the best distribution teams, including in South Africa, to tell you what those stories and what the best products are for you and your clients.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. And I mean, talking to talent, talking to kind of reach, in the South African market, we're seeing quite a lot of consolidation, yeah. Do you think that's a trend that will continue? And more importantly, what does that mean for clients? And how are we positioning ourselves to support them better in terms of talent, scale, innovation? How do we do it?
I think that's an interesting question. So, consolidation can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
If it leads to better investment outcomes, it can be a good thing. If it leads to a better cost management system, it can be a good thing. But the biggest risk in consolidation is a dilution of ultimately what the investor has bought, right? And we all know that the people in this room, when they look at an asset management business, they're buying into an investment philosophy, they're buying into a process. When you now, over 10 years, have got 3 different businesses that have come together, at what point do you then say, I'm not really sure this is what I had initially bought into? And that's always going to be the biggest risk in any type of M&A transaction in asset management. I think also from a talent perspective, the employee value proposition, staff buy into an organization. People who work at M&G know exactly why they work at M&G. Besides the lovely canteen on the 9th floor, there's got to be, there's a value proposition to an organization that you buy into. And as soon as you have kind of different businesses coming together, you've got to put in extra time and effort to make sure that you don't dilute that value proposition.
Yeah.
The search for talent in our area is always going to be a challenge. South Africa has got a further compounded situation of the immigration risk where, we see it in kids' schools where there's always kids leaving because the parents are moving to, Australia, the UK, the US. It's big. And once again, it's got to be about the advantage of having a global organization. Yeah. If we have got the right talent of people in the business, there's nothing wrong with being able to move across continents, and we see it a lot with our own staff, and that is a great value proposition of being a global business.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, the younger generation can moving across and having a broad spectrum to play with. Okay, there's a follow-up question for both of you. Either one, jump in, both of you. Ultimately, our clients in this room are navigating the same complexities that we are. Everyone's got talent issues, etc. Change, complexity. How do you both think about keeping client needs at the center whilst you are busy building future-proof investment businesses?
You want me to start? So I joined the firm 2.5 years ago. After realizing how we've been organized, we've simplified the way we manage money. We've been strengthening our investment processes, making sure the talents, were here. And then it was all about clients.
Yeah.
So we've launched massive initiatives about customer centricity or client experience. This is the key project that we are running right now to make sure that we become a company to do business with in an easy manner. That's what we want to be, what we want to become. So we invested across the whole value chain. When it's about client take-on, it's about also how do we have more interaction with clients,
Yep.
physically or digitally as well, and make sure we can report to clients in a much more easily manner. So we are deploying that program here in Europe and hopefully in South Africa.
Yes.
At some stage you will benefit from it as well. So that interaction with clients is critical. We have a number of experts as well within investment teams, within distributions, investment specialists, to make sure that in a fast-changing environment, we can accompany the clients whenever they decide to reallocate money here and there. Just look at what happened over the past 6 months.
Yeah.
With Liberation Day or even before Liberation Day. We've seen clients deciding to allocate massively outside the US into non-US strategies. And we have benefited from it into emerging market strategies,
Yeah.
Asian strategies, and European strategies. Because we were there, because they knew who we were, because they knew about our strategies, we were able to benefit from that trend. And they really thanked us from that because being present with clients, it's the moments where they test us and we can accompany them in those massive shifts that are happening in the world we live in.
That's true. Okay.
I mean, I think that the job of an asset allocator and an advisor has gotten more difficult. I truly respect what they need to do at the moment. And actually, I think as an M&G, being boring in this instance is not a bad thing. Be consistent in what it is you say you are going to do. You never want to be the fund manager that surprises fund allocators all the time. You've got to be clear about what it is you say you are going to do.
Yeah.
Our investment philosophy is consistent over time.
Yep.
And in putting you together in a grouping of strategies, you've got to know what that manager is going to do at any point in time.
You got to deliver what's on the tin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Many local investment companies, and we see this in our market, Joseph, they're a South African company, and then they've chosen a global partner. And we see these things called strategic global partnerships. And I'm often interested in that as a marketer because they go to market with 2 different brands. At M&G, we structured differently. We are going out to market as one global business, which in my mind means that we connect insights across time zones, across cultures, across market conditions in a way that's seamless. It's a model that brings real benefits. So let's unpack that. You alluded to it just now, but maybe, Joseph, you can give us a sense just around the breadth and the scale of our global capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want effectively to provide the best of M&G to South African partners and South African clients. For that, indeed, I mentioned that we are very strong in public markets. You will see a number of people on stage later on in equities, multi-assets, or fixed income, managed out of the UK, managed out of the US, or managed out of Asia. We want the investment teams to be close to the geographies that matter to them. So we manage a lot of Asian capabilities, European ones, global ones, or US ones. On top of, for sure, what you already know, the South African ones, for sure. More recently, as we've had a solid base of private market capabilities, mostly in private credit and in real estate, also in infrastructure and impact investing. There were the 4 pillars I will try to simplify our private market capabilities. We've onboarded new strategies over the past couple of years, including through acquisitions. We wanted to reinforce our real estate capabilities. We added Beaumont, a company we bought on the value-add real estate space, managed assets in Europe, or in direct lending with P Capital Partners we just onboarded last month. So for us, because we have two businesses, asset management on one side that I'm leading, as you know, and the other one being the life insurance business, the historical Prudential that we are now representing in the UK. We have access to permanent capital, long-term capital, that can support the growth of asset management. They are, by the way, clients of South Africa, as much as they are clients across the world, and they are able to give us the time to have the best portfolio managers to, at the end, deliver the best outcome for clients wherever they sit, including in this room.
Yeah, next year I think we're going to take some of our clients on a walk around, Joseph, so you can show us some of these incredible buildings that
would be with pleasure.
Yeah. And over to you. Since Reg 28 changes, we've seen a lot of capital move globally into offshore. So in your mind, having been a client, as you alluded to earlier, what do you think the advantages are of being a global business? And how would you talk to these clients in this room around Reg 28 and partnering with one global company?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the advantage of having a global business is when you walk into M&G in Cape Town, it shouldn't feel any different when you walk into this building here. You must feel the same ethos of what an M&G Investments is. We also need to know that an ease of transactability is critical for clients. Clients have to be able to say, okay, I met with the global team the other day. There is a fund that I'm interested in. It should not have to be a whole different process, a different team. Servicing must feel seamless. Yeah. Servicing must feel, information access must feel easy. And I think that the advantage we've got in being a single organization, as opposed to an arm's length kind of partner that you've got offshore, is that it is the same M&G no matter which office you sit in.
Yeah, that's true. I think it also just, it's really helpful that you deal with the Cape Town team was almost the gateway into the whole organization, because as Joseph was saying earlier, the client experience and staying close to the client is really important. So when I look at the brands that are in South Africa, many of them are what I term sort of suitcase servicing as opposed to really connecting with clients. Would you say that's an advantage?
Yeah, I mean, so we are also very clear we're not going to be everything to everybody.
Yes.
We are an active asset manager, and at the same time, we are very clear about wanting to be a global partner and a global ally. So over the course of the week, for example, we have had several of you in our offices meeting with strategies that are not even our own strategies, but we don't service those strategies. But because we are partners, we are here to kind of walk the global journey with you. We will help support and serve where we can. And I think that that's an important part of a relationship to maintain, is there's not always going to be kind of an immediate win for you as an M&G, but there's a long-term relationship at play here that we are, we prioritize.
Oh, that's good,
Yeah.
Joseph, I mean, how does having boots on the ground in multiple regions sharpen our thinking?
I think we want to understand what's in the mind of clients. Having people on the ground makes us closer to clients, to their client needs, and creates much more reactivity on our side if demand shifts, if clients have new requests in whichever area. It can be within the investment category, it can be on reporting, it can be on specific needs the client wants. 2, managing money. You need to be managing money in the geographies that are meaningful at the end of the day. If you want to manage Chinese equity, as we do, or Asian equity, you have to do it out of Asia. You need to be connected to the ecosystem that matters. We manage US fixed income, we do it out of Chicago. It's much more relevant for clients, and that's why they trust us at the end of the day. So this is why at the end we are present in more than 22 different geographies around the world, and that's where we have all the people on the ground, from Australia to Japan in Asia, and every city that matters in between, in South Africa for sure, and in every city that matters in Europe, plus a couple of locations in the US.
You travel a lot, Joseph.
I do. I do, but what I see, it's clients wanting to know more what's going on out there in the world. understanding every 3 months, 6 months, when something happens in the US, how it's affecting, you know, their portfolios, their investments, the decisions they have to make. You know, I remember speaking to very large pension funds a month ago in Canada. They were extremely concerned about what's happening in the US.
Yeah.
I thought that it will be just a temporary concern. It is a very profound concern. So it is a wake-up call for us, saying, how can we serve you better? You want to allocate more money to Europe, we are here for you. In Asia, we are here for you. Likewise, if you speak to European investors, they will tell you their deeper concerns today. And that's evolve every 6 months. I'd love to, that I'm sure we are doing the same here with our South African clients, and we'd love at some stage to see how we can not only connect you with our investment teams, but connect clients together, because that's where, by sharing, you know, the concern, we can be effectively being able to bring new ideas for you and have you see what's going on out there, and hopefully you also making your own decisions the right way.
Yeah, that's a true global ally. Yeah. And how do we collaborate across geographies in a way that's different from local investment managers with global partners? So Joseph alluded just to some of it, but what do you think makes that model unique from your perspective?
I think it's the speed of reactivity. If I look at what happened post-Liberation Day, so we've got very fixed processes in place when the markets react in beyond a certain percentage every day, right? So if volatility shoots up, like what happened post-Liberation Day, certain systems kick in at M&G across the globe, and one of those involves what we call a fast market forum. And that then becomes an everyday 4 o'clock meeting to discuss what has happened in the world, where are the client concerns, what are the questions we need to be addressing, and that kicks in as soon as the volatility hits. You don't sit and then wait to call your partner offshore and say, you know, our clients are asking lots of questions, are you able to send us some stuff? It is very, like, you know, on the clock.
Yeah.
And I think that it's that speed of reactivity, because we are a single organization, that really made a difference. I mean, we had a post-Liberation Day call with clients in kind of a 24-hour period, and we had over 150 clients dial in that quickly, because people want to know, and people want to feel like you understand that they've also got questions that they are fielding from their own clients.
Yeah, and you want the insights not just manufactured from a Cape Town office, but really from the experts across the globe. Okay. Joseph, I mean, I joke with you about traveling, but I know that you travel extensively and you engage with our clients because you're absolutely passionate about that. But what are you hearing as some of the main kind of themes from our clients at the moment? And how are we adapting to those evolving needs?
So the 2-3 themes we hear from clients are around diversification.
Okay.
To be clear on this one, many of them, I remember meeting with them 2 years ago, were telling me, we are over-invested in the US. And I was like, you know, you can invest in emerging market with us, in Europe, in South Africa. They looked at me and they said, but we love US. And the same clients call us back saying now, you know what, we truly have to diversify. And it's time for us to take money out of the US and allocate elsewhere. That is a trend that we see across the world, I have to say. I even can, on a no-name basis, you know, share with you the latest call we received from a sovereign fund in Asia, telling us, repeating word for word what they told us. We've been talking to them for 2 years on private market. They say, you know what, Mr. Trump have made, let's say, the US less investable for us. We need to now sign deal with you guys moving forward. So that's the world we live in. From Asian investors, from European investors, or even from US investors where flows have come into emerging market, Asia, and Europe. So diversification is key to a big shift into private markets. So we've seen investors wanting to access private markets. Why? Well, it's very simple. If you look at even private equity versus public equities, look at the number of listed companies in the world. They have almost halved over the past 10 years. So it's just they want to benefit from a greater investable universe, and it's also in the private market space. Look at private credit. You look at the US versus Europe. in the US is extremely advanced. 2/3 of loans that happen in the US to companies, mid-sized companies, are intermediated by asset managers. 1/3 is in the hand of banks.
Yeah.
Look at European banks, it's the other way around. It's 2/3 in the hand of banks, 1/3 in the hand of private market managers. And we know that trend will be moving towards what we've seen in the US if we want to develop the economy. And we've positioned ourselves there, both in private credit, real estate, and some form of private equity to serve clients. That's what we've been hearing more and more. Within private markets, there's also the democratization of private market. I was this week actually at the Fund Forum in Monaco, where a lot of the big banks, the big distributors of this world were there. The big asset managers as well were there. The key topic is how do we provide the best products to private clients in the private market space. For sure, with the right vehicle, paying attention to liquidity, making sure that the suitability is well looked after so that there is no mis-selling behind, but many private clients want to have access to the best investment capabilities out there. And that's what we are also able to propose to them.
Okay, so diversification, lots happening in the private market space. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Can I ask you guys one last question before we open up to a Q&A? And if you could leave this audience with just one thought about the future of investing and why they should partner with M&G, what would it be?
I would say don't underestimate the importance of simplicity. Sometimes what appears fancy and complex can often cost you a lot more than you realize you are paying upfront. M&G has had a tried and tested investment philosophy for 30 years in South Africa, longer globally, and we don't take that lightly. I think that we uphold with lots of pride the ability to be, I don't even want to call it boring, but very consistent in what it is we say we are going to do. And actually being a core allocation strategy is something that has worked very well for the business. I think that the market has become very complex over the past few years. The private market allocation discussion in South Africa is something that is a developing discussion. Clients want to talk about it, but because of the liquidity and the risks inherent in it, it remains a much smaller segment of allocation. But actually, if you look globally, there are some really great strategies for private market allocation. So make sure there again, you go tried and tested.
Okay, thank you for that. Joseph, if I could ask you the same question?
I think one thought for me is, yes, we live in a complex world, more and more complex. I'm a strong believer in active management. There is one thought for you, it's active management. Not all managers are equal, I want to say. It's up to you to test us in that category. Delivering superior investment performance and outcome for you and your clients, it's our priority mission. Providing you with the right set of diversified strategies in public or private market is the other one. So for me, it's please do test us, and I'm sure we will be there to answer to your request and delivering the alpha you're looking for.
Thank you. We've done well for time. Can we open the floor to questions, please, from the audience? Use your mic in the chair situated next to you. No questions? Well, I think then I've done my job well. I've drawn all your insights in the time allocated. I want to thank you again for joining us today, Joseph.
A pleasure.
And thank you for spending time with us at the lunch break this afternoon, where Joseph will see more of you. And Anne, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.